Hi everybody, welcome to GameGO Podcast, the podcast where we talk about video games and whatever else we feel like talking about. I am H8BitHero, and as always, here's Sonorith.
Hi, a lot of news this week, so I'm just going to jump right into it. First thing I want to talk about, apparently there was a group that claimed that there was no Mass Effect Andromeda DLC planned, or at least single-player DLC. There's good and bad news. The good news is that was a hoax, not true. Well,
You've all been rused.
the bad news is that it was true. There is no DLC planned.
You've been rused twice.
Double ruse.
Roozy McRoozles.
Yeah, this is probably due to the fact that the game didn't do too well, and at least as far as like the original trilogy is concerned.
I wonder if it had anything to do with the silly, ridiculous facial animations.
Probably. They really dropped the ball, at least as far as like visually. You know, I had fun with the game, but it did look kind of weird. And apparently everyone else thought so too, because now they just aren't working on DLC. Hopefully all those people get moved over to Anthem and don't lose their jobs. But yeah, in other news, StarCraft HD is being released on August 14th. They finally set a release date. It's going to be $14.99 for an HD remaster of the original game. And you can even switch back and forth between the original graphics and the high definition ones.
Pretty sweet.
With a single button. Yeah. It looks great. And it looks like they're updating the infrastructure online for Battle.net or Blizzard Online, whatever they call it now. I think they got rid of the Battle.net name.
Okay.
More Blizzard news, though. Diva is getting a statue. It's going to be 19 inches tall. And it's going to have her mech with her sitting on one of the cannons. That's a pose, right? It's one of her victory poses? Yeah.
Is this the same one that we saw on the feed?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, somebody said they didn't want it until they actually saw it. But it is $450, so I think I'm just going to keep wanting this one. And it should be out, it says fourth quarter of the year, so the 3-month span, October to December.
19 inches tall is a pretty sweet size. It's pretty bulky.
Yeah, and it is a limit of 2 per customer, so, don't try to hoard all of them and sell them later.
Yeah, at that price, it's so easy, right?
Well, some people have the disposable income, and then you can turn it around and sell it for like 3 times the price at least.
Sounds like an entrepreneur's dream.
Yeah, but they're limiting it, so you'd have to have multiple addresses or credit cards, whatever it is they're using.
I think there's ways around it.
Well, we'll think about those later. On a bit of a downer, Cuphead, the indie old cartoon-looking game, is not coming to the PS4 like some people expected.
Yeah, that's really, really upsetting.
I'm glad that they clarified, though. They did say that it's 100% lifetime exclusive for PC/Microsoft, so like the Xbox. Maybe Mac and Linux later on, but that's apparently part of their contract that they can do that. Although they did specify they own the IP, so that might hint that they want to do something more later.
Yeah.
Or that they're at least able to if they want to later on with maybe a sequel.
The wording left it open for them to do their own thing with someone else, and then maybe then they'll be able to expand to whatever platforms they want to. But as far as this game is concerned, staying on Microsoft-related systems.
Yeah.
For now.
Kind of unfortunate. It would be cool to play this on PS4. But, I mean, we have PCs, so maybe we should play together.
We're not going to miss out, but that still sucks.
So good.
It looks like a really damn great, classic Contra-like game with amazing visuals, you know? It looks like Metal Slug with a different twist on it.
It looks like a legit cartoon you can play, which is what they called Wind Waker.
It just looked like it was animated by hand the whole time.
Yeah.
Bayonetta is probably coming to Switch.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It's getting teased or something. Platinum tweeted out what looked like it's just a mirrored image, a parallel mirrored image of Bayonetta, one right side up, one kind of upside down. But the part that's getting people suspect is the fact that in the background, the blue and red that they use kind of matches the Switch's Joy-Con theme. So it's getting people talking. It wouldn't be completely unfounded considering that Atsushi Inaba, he had said he would like to make a Bayonetta 3. They were talking within the company even about what to do with it. So it wouldn't be a complete surprise if something got done with that.
Yeah, this is continuing the trend of Wii U games being released on the Switch. This one I'm more welcome to. I know that when Bayonetta 2 released on the Wii U, you could get it came with a copy of the first game. Later copies did not include that copy of the first game. So this is a good chance for me to to get the whole series or the 2 games.
Yeah, both very much worth playing. It is one of my like top 5 games ever.
How do you feel about this being released as a 2-parter if it was $60?
I'm gonna be really upset if it's full price.
Still?
We already talked about it before.
Well,
with
yeah,
Mario
but it's
Kart.
2 games.
I think I'd still be upset. They're both. I don't know, because they came out with it at that same price on Wii U. So basically,
Initially,
it is
like I
just a
said, now you
re-release.
can't get that if you were to buy the second
Well,
game.
it still got released. That content was there at the worth of $60. This is just going to get re-released. I wouldn't. Whether it's both or one.
Yeah. All right. Well, I would probably buy it if it turns out to be true.
I'm gonna, yeah.
A minor detail also, the Twitter account that they used is new, so they made it specifically for this kind of thing.
I think it helps fuel that.
Yeah,
the fact that like,
the
this
speculation.
probably is going to come to fruition sooner than we thought.
Yeah. Far Cry 5. They've been talking up the fact that it's co-op from the ground, from the moment you start the game.
It was a big deal.
It still kind of is. There is a bit of a hiccup though. They didn't really talk about this, but German website GameStar, they got some information, and when translated, people discovered that if you're playing in co-op, the person that joins you doesn't keep their progress.
This is in the past when it was first being introduced, when this whole concept of like playing online co-op campaign with someone else, it was always a pain. Like, wait, what do you save? What do you keep? What do you get to keep with you?
Well, in the 4, they solved that by only letting you do open world stuff.
Right.
They would join you to like take a fort or something.
Right, but then the way they had worded it
For the
before,
5th one.
it seemed like full feature. Just it's basically the exact same game, just a second person's there. And
Like Borderlands.
Yeah, exactly. Drop in, drop out. You get to keep all the whatever you do complete and don't complete. It gets checked off and shared for both.
Yeah.
But yeah, that doesn't seem to be the case here. Just whoever joins in is not going to have their progress saved.
Yeah, which on the one hand, if I can't imagine, but if one person buys it only expecting to play co-op with the other person, that's fine. But if you want to play on your own, then you have a completely separate file, which seems archaic and unnecessary.
Yeah, there have always been ways around this. This isn't something completely new to this industry, to this industry or anything like that. There are solutions, and why they're not implementing them, I don't know.
I mean, this is their first big swing at full co-op, so hopefully they fix it, or in a future iteration
Let's talk to Randy Pitchford for
Right.
10 minutes.
Yeah, I want to see this fixed. I don't know if I'll get it. I mean, I probably would have played it by myself anyway. Unless you got it, then maybe we could play together. But yeah, that's a weird
That's
decision.
still just upsetting to see
I'm hoping,
that.
I'm hoping that wasn't a deliberate choice, and that is just like the result of an not so great system.
Right.
Yeah. ARMS is finally getting their new character this month, it seems like.
Yeah, they're going to be getting in the July update. As far as a hard date for that, it hasn't been said yet. It's going to be free. It's going to be anybody who completed the ranked mode, the Grand Prix mode, will be familiar with Max Brass. He's the last character that you fight in the game. Well, just minor spoilers, but yeah, second to last. So, Max Brass, he's going to be a heavy fighter. He's not going to be flinching when his arms are charged. And on top of that, his arms are going to be constantly charged when his health drops below 20%. That's
like
pretty...
Springman?
Yeah, that's pretty great, all these bonuses, but that's the thing that makes me think, well, then now why would anybody play a Springman? Because Springman's move or special is called Desperation, wherein he is permanently charged once his health hits 20% or below. Shares it in common with this guy. Why would you want to play as Springman knowing that?
Well, he's faster.
I don't know how much faster he's going to be. I mean, this guy might be heavy, as in like he can take some hits. Don't know about his speed. That doesn't always necessarily mean the same thing there.
I can't imagine they would make a character that can take a punch, but also throw them quickly.
Right. You're right. That's supposed to be the balance.
Yeah.
But then I guess we'll have to wait until he comes out to see if, okay, they better have gotten that right. Springman's speed now has to make up for this guy's seemingly OP benefits.
Yeah, hopefully he's slower than a lot of the characters.
And that, I mean, you get to play him. He doesn't seem dramatically, like he's not slower than Master Mummy. I know that.
Maybe that's just to make him challenging in the Grand Prix. Maybe his stats are going to be different as a playable character.
When you play him as him, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that's the case. Otherwise, I mean, this isn't their first game, Nintendo's first game.
No, of course not.
They're no strangers to balance.
I don't know. It worries me a little bit, but yeah.
But yeah, he's free, which is, I know people were concerned with that Fire Emblem DLC. The season pass was like more than the game itself.
Yeah, but, no worries here.
Yeah.
Just buy the base game and you're going to get supported until they're done with it.
New stages, new characters, hopefully new arms. I want to see more stuff like that.
Final Fantasy X.
Five Nights at Freddy's 6.
I got it basically right.
You got 3 of the letters right? Okay, well, Five Nights at Freddy's was technically announced, but only to say that it was canceled.
Yeah, so there were plans, and we're not actually, we shouldn't say straight up Five Nights at Freddy's, because apparently it's just the next sequel, the next game.
I think he said, like, what you would know as Five Nights at Freddy's 6 was...
Okay, all right, okay.
But some people don't believe Scott Cawthon. They think that this is just a ruse.
Some people are talking to you right now, Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
Give us the game, Scott.
Just us, not Markiplier.
No one else. It's okay.
Yeah, people think that he's just kind of like stringing people along and then gonna surprise them with the game. I'm hoping that's the case because I know with Sister Location he really went all out and the game it thrived for it in terms of narrative and gameplay. He also said though that he is working on something that he hopes fans will be happy with, making it seem like it's something different entirely. But we'll see what he has working. You know what he's working on when he finally shows it to the world.
Yeah, one of the upsetting things about this whole situation is that it can legitimately go either way. It could or could not be a clever marketing ruse thing.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of person who's like, I'm not happy with this. I'm done.
Yeah, like, I mean, he literally did all that drastic stuff with the with Freddy World. What was it called?
FNAF World.
FNAF World. He did all that crazy stuff just simply because he was disappointed, and that wasn't a ruse. That wasn't a troll or anything. He authentically didn't like what he came out with, was disappointed, and decided, okay, let's pull it and then put it back up for free once it's fixed.
Which I don't even know if that ever happened.
Yeah.
We should. I'll take a look at that at some point.
Confirm it.
Yeah. PlayStation Plus, new month, new games for free if you have a PlayStation Plus membership. Now, these games, you get to keep them as long as you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, which, I mean, it's $60 a year. It pays for itself after like a month. Because this month you're getting games like Until Dawn and Telltale Games Game of Thrones for PS4. I heard that's not their greatest hit, considering what else they've made, but I'm sure it's still a solid experience. Until Dawn, though, that one is creepy and awesome, and I would love to play it on the stream at some point.
I have the copy of it. I have not gone through it the whole way.
What?
But I'm thinking maybe I trade that in, use that money towards PS Plus, and then get a copy of Until Dawn. With my copy of Until Dawn.
If you have a Vita and a PS3, then you'd also be getting 4 other games. For PS3, we're getting Tokyo Jungle.
I am so upset that this doesn't have like some kind of port or just some kind of compatibility with PS4. Yeah, that game looks
crazy cool.
I want to play that game really bad. Of every game here, that's the one.
Explain what it is for people that don't know.
Tokyo Jungle asks you what would happen if, humanity ceased to exist in Tokyo and then animals.
Yeah, you basically play as animals in... I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but a humanless Tokyo.
It just, like everything isn't completely covered in that red sepia tone yet here, but everything is like, there aren't people around, there is stuff growing through the floor, yeah. Fauna and flora are definitely flourishing in the metropolitan area.
Yeah, it looks cool and quirky.
You play as the animals though. Yeah. As the animals themselves, and these animals go to war with each other, fight each other. It's a weird. It is not hyper violent, but it is like, hey, they're animals. They're trying to eat each other and survive. Yeah. But also sometimes you have like these Pomeranian puppies that do parkour.
I think I saw a pack of them on Donkey's channel eating like an emu or something.
It is weird. It's a crazy. It is Japan in a nutshell. It's pretty awesome.
It looks cool. Darkstalkers Resurrection is the other PlayStation 3 game coming. So you can download those now, or if you're at a computer, you can add them to your library to download later.
Quality fighting game there.
Oh, yeah. Darkstalkers always looks really good. And for PS Vita, you have Elemental, where the
Elemental.
the A is a 4. And Don't
You know
Die.
anything about that game?
I don't, actually.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's Vita. I'm not quite as savvy with those. Don't Die, Mr. Robot is the other PS Vita game, but that one you can download and play on your PS4.
Okay, do you know if it has anything to do with Mr. Robot?
I don't believe it does.
Okay. While looking this up,
Remy? Is that the name?
right next to it, Remy...
Malek?
A shot of Remy Malek's character from Until Dawn is sitting there right underneath the
Don't Die,
Mr. Robot release information. I'm like, wait, is it? What? No way.
And if you don't know, Mr. Robot is a show where he plays the main character.
Right. Sorry, he's the protagonist of that.
Yeah.
Pretty damn great show. If you haven't checked it out, you should.
Yeah, I heard it's great. But yeah, those are the games for PS Plus. Check them out. Download them. Let us know if you like them or hate them. Yeah. I mean, they deliver pretty solid games every month.
Mm-hmm.
So
games
yeah,
with gold?
Xbox actually has their own thing called Xbox Games with Gold. They release a few games every half month. So July 1st, you can play and download these now. For Xbox One, you can play Grow Up, and for Xbox 360, which is compatible with one, you can get Kane and Lynch 2.
That was a solid game.
Was it? Isn't that the one that the guy got fired over?
I think it was one that the guy got fired over.
Still a dumb situation. But July 16th, they will release 2 more games, Runbow for the Xbox One and Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, the video game for the Xbox 360, also compatible with Xbox One. Those are pretty solid titles. I mean, at least I'm not sure about Kane and Lynch 2. You seemed more sure of it.
Yeah, when I say they're solid, I literally mean like 7 and up. 6.5 to 7. Not going to break on you. It's fully functional. Controls seem fine. Don't expect the most compelling changes, surprises in either gameplay or story, though.
Yeah. Games with Gold has had better months. I mean, the Lego game on its own is fun. But this doesn't really seem like they're heavy hitters.
Mm-mm.
But yeah.
I've definitely been more excited or regretful that I don't have Xbox Gold over other packages.
Yeah. Smaller bits of news. PlayStation 4 removed a game from their store. I think that's like the first time they've done it. The game was called 5-star 1,000 top rated.
Sounds like a solid game. I don't understand why anybody would want it removed.
1,000. It's 5 stars.
All of the good critiques, it has it in the name.
Yeah. No, the game was not removed to quality concerns, which I feel like it probably should have been. It's just a bunch of those sliding puzzles. The game was removed because they had heavily advertised the fact that you can get a platinum trophy in like an hour. Which, I mean, it just kind of... the game is only $1, but if it's selling well, then that's money that's going to these people that threw something together and said, look how easy it is to get a platinum trophy. Which attracts some people. I was reading an article about how Steam is getting a problem with that. There's games with like thousands of achievements in them that you can get.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know it was getting spread out that far.
Yeah. I think one person's game crashed on them because they were getting so many achievements. But that's for Steam. But for PS4, they said if you remove the fact in the trailer that you can get a platinum trophy easily, and
it's barely a game afterwards.
I think they're saying take that out and you can put the game back up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's only... Yeah. I'm not happy with that.
So that's the stipulation.
Yeah.
But then in that case, it's literally not a game worth playing.
I mean, even with the trophy, I wouldn't say it's worth playing at all, but some people really enjoy those.
I'm sorry. Those are trophies.
I'm a millennial. I need the validation.
My e-peen.
No. Okay. Anyway.
I do remember something very similar to this. Though, I mean, Microsoft didn't take action on it, but it did make a big deal when on Xbox 360 when they started introducing Gamerscore and Avatar, the Last Airbender, the 360 title came out. I actually had was the renting one? What is
Gamefly?
The renting one? I had Gamefly at the time. I got it and
returned it 15 minutes later.
Within 5 minutes, I had all 1,000
points.
Gamerscore, and it was supposed to be a big coveted thing. These are supposed to be big, huge challenges. This game made it sadly easy.
Yeah. For reference, when I played Infamous 1, to get the Platinum Trophy, you have to beat the game on various difficulties, and both as a good and a bad side. but there's also one where you have to collect like several of these things called blast shards, and it gives you a small radar for them, but you do have to look around the map for them. And I ended up drawing up a map of the whole city and like Xing out blocks as I was clearing them out.
You run around in an open world?
In Infamous?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 3 islands, 3 city islands.
I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Injustice. Keep going.
Oh, yeah. Infamous. Basically, like, I put hours and I like went out and made a map, and this is the work that I made to get this platinum trophy.
Right. And then I could have just came along, saw this
bought
game.
this game, and like, boop, platinum.
And it took me so much less time.
And a lot less money, because it's 98 cents for the game.
Dignity's nowhere to be found, though.
Yeah. I'm glad they took it down. I don't know. I really wish they wouldn't put it back up, but
this is a weird. What do you define as a game? It has a start and end point. Does it have a goal? And apparently it does, as weak as it is.
Yeah.
But then again, also, it is completely just capitalizing and exploiting the fact that some people just want a bigger gamer score, and that's it.
Yeah.
So they're willing to shell out maybe a buck or two. How much was it?
98 cents.
98 cents. Not
Less
even
than
an entire dollar for 1,000-point boost. Sure, why not? What would be great is if Sony could go and redact those achievement points, those trophy points.
It doesn't look
That
like
would
they're
be
taking away the
amazing.
trophy, though. They're just getting rid of the fact that they're advertising it.
So you could still just buy this with that
Once
trophy
the game comes
functionality?
back up, yeah.
I thought you meant to say that they
No.
asked them to remove the achievements.
They're removing the advertising for the achievement.
Wow, okay. So
Yeah.
the game's still going to be out there. I don't
After-
know. It's still weird. What do you do here? I mean, it seems like the right thing is, take it down, but then also, is it still a game?
I wouldn't have given them a platinum trophy, because that's the one that's most coveted. And if you don't know, platinum trophy is when you get every other trophy in a game. Not every game gets a platinum trophy. Like, I think one of the Walking Deads didn't get one.
Okay.
So it's like, why are you giving this one when you won't give that? Or some
yeah.
other games that, like,
Again, an actual developer and studio worked hard to make,
Yeah.
and they can't even get the clearing for that.
Yeah.
But this dollar game will get me a platinum trophy. That's cool. That makes sense.
To be fair, though, I did hear that, what was it? If you push hard enough when you're asking for trophy certification, they'll just give it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like
maybe
everything else in life.
maybe they heard that same advice that I heard and were like, come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Hey,
Anyway,
Sony,
moving on,
Sony.
because this is upsetting me.
Come on.
Actually, I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think the fact that this is an easy platinum like devalues the rest, or do you not care about trophies at all, or what's your opinion on this one?
Yeah, in general about it, do you think, what would your solution be? Let's say you're in charge. Do you remove their ability to give trophies?
Or just the
in
platinum?
The game? Do you remove just the platinum? Do you
Take
do
the
you
game
think that
down
Sony's
entirely?
take the game down entirely? Do you think Sony's doing what as I feel like they kind of have their hands tied and they're doing what I guess is best they can do without just being straight up quote unquote Nazi fascist asshole bullshit heads.
Yeah, we're gonna bleep all that out, hopefully. Although I did hear that this is basically them trying to get advertising, because they do, that same developer, quote unquote, sells themes on the PlayStation Store.
Oh, that's right. All they do is just these crazy ridiculous themes, right?
Yeah, it's like stock images. If you look, you'll just find whatever as a theme. So people think that this is just kind of bringing their name into the light, and people are going to look it up and buy a theme.
I think they're giving it too much credit, considering what they're doing. It just seems like let's split the avenues of easy dollars that we can make.
Yeah,
because it just seems like all of these are easy bucks.
Not even a full buck. Anyway, moving on. Super Bomberman R, that game that we tried and weren't too happy with.
Yeah.
They're adding some little character costumes, I guess, for multiplayer. You can play as Simon Belmont from the Castlevania series, and Pyramid Head from the Silent Hill series.
Yeah, that's a very weird pick.
Yeah, that's like if you... I can't really think of any specific examples right now. But they're also adding Vic Viper.
Who is Vic Viper?
I don't know. I think he's a jet.
I have never heard of Vic Viper.
Well, apparently you can play as him now as a bomber person.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, anyway, that's the news for the day, for the week. Reviews. We played. I played. Well, you played some too. We bought GoNNER.
Isano bought it. I checked it out. It's pretty sweet. I might get it myself.
Pretty fun. It's a side-scrolling roguelike shooter. So you start off just with really basic equipment. You get a backpack, a head, a gun, which is like a basic rifle, but you quickly start finding better and better versions. Not necessarily better, actually, I should say, just different things. Like the backpack, one backpack will reload your gun. Another one will just start firing bursts of the ammo without actually costing you ammo. And then another one like stops time. So depending on what abilities you like and use and maybe make up for skills you lack or areas that you're weaker in, you can use a loadout to kind of fit your playstyle. So far I'm using the shotgun and the one that gives you a rapid fire, which is actually a shark fin. And the game looks great.
The different little, just what you showed me.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird, like what they decide to have like why does a shark fin do what it does? Why is a shark fin equipable at all?
I don't know.
There was another backpack that I had used that was just, the backpack looked like it just had like 6 holes in it.
I think that's where the grenades come out of.
I guess. But then 6 explosions that emanated out of me. And yeah, it just looked a little odd. Didn't seem to reflect what it was going to do. But at least you get some time to play with each you get to toy around with them before you take them into the fight.
Yeah, there's like a room you start in to like pick your loadout. The game looks very odd. Like it's almost like a watercolor almost.
I don't know that I'd say watercolors. They're bolder than that.
But it's definitely got like that weird like wibbly wobbly looking.
Everything looks like it's painted, but like not painted.
It looks great, at least.
The art style is really, really unique. It's really awesome. It looks really nice. It's hard to describe though. The colors are super bold. There's no outlines. Everything's very, like, I want to say it's dark because the whole screen is like black, and the level environment itself doesn't reveal itself until you're near it. For the most
part, yeah. Because there are enemies that'll be on it, and you can see what they're standing on or around.
Kind of like a spotlight is on every moving character.
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah, like it's wrong to say that it's a dark game visually. I mean, yeah, as black as it is, as visually black as it is, it's got a whole lot of like really, really nice, vibrant art going on to it. What's the name of the developer? Art and Heart. There we go. Art and Heart, and it makes sense once you look at the game and the way it looks.
Yeah, and actually, now that you mentioned the vibrant colors, so there's a combo system which ties into how you get scored. So for every 5 kills you get in a combo, you'll get something called the glyph, and that ends up multiplying like the points you get from each kill. But if you get enough kills in a combo, I want to say it's like 20 or 25 kills, you get what's called a color combo, and it ends up warping the whole screen with like rainbow splashes.
Whoa!
I think you saw a hint of that when I started it right at the first time.
Okay.
While the combo's going on, you get unlimited ammo, and the game just looks really, really like pretty, and it pops. And I think it even unlocks some harder enemies that will give you extra glyphs just for killing them on their own.
All right, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. The game just like exudes with like charm and kind of like cute creepiness. Like the main character has a skull for a head, like when you start off.
Aren't you talking to Death at the beginning of the game? Or you're interacting
at the beginning
with
of your
Death
rounds
himself? Yeah.
after the first time, yeah.
It's got a slightly macabre story, I guess.
Yeah, and everything just looks like it's... I don't know how to describe it. It looks like everything wants to kill you, and mostly because it does. Except for this giant whale that is like your best friend.
Yeah, that whale is adorable. And I was very confused as to what emotions it's supposed to be conveying. Because it was smiling at you and hearts were coming out at it. But then every once in a while it was also like frowning and it looked a little sad or remorseful.
Maybe because I was leaving it.
Aww.
But no, the game is fun. The controls are very tight and responsive. Although it's a roguelike, and sometimes it's a little frustrating to die. And it's never so frustrating, though, that you just want to stop. If I stop, it's because, like, all right, I've tried, like, 10 times. But I've never, like, rage quit and, like, you know what, like, screw this, I'm done. If I do die and I'm, like, upset about it, I'm like, okay, but this time I'll get it. The there's times where you'll die in like the most ridiculous fashion. Like I got stuck in a corner. I think you were there for that one.
Actually, that happened to me too. The few minutes that I played.
Yeah, like you'll get stuck in a corner and you'll get back up and hit and get back up and you get hit again and you'll just die there. But other times though, like if you get lucky and if you're maneuvering correctly and you're like on your game, the best way to describe it is like it feels like you're John Wick, but adorable. Like just the way like you're jumping around, wall jumping, like shooting. Like I jumped over a ledge and activated my shark fin, which just like blasted the room full of shotgun pellets. And then to see the glyphs like pop up after, because I got like 7 kills in a single burst. It's a very satisfying game. The sound is weird. Like the music is like very subtle, but it's catchy.
The sound effects I was tripping out on.
You said everything sounded like it was in a beaker?
Like it was in some kind of like
Muted.
beaker being poured out from one cup to another or some every sound effect sounded like it was oil dripping or some kind of liquid hitting some kind of surface. It was weird.
Yeah, I like it so far. I've only made it to like the second world, but I'm going to keep trying at it. So far I've found 4 backpacks. There's the reload, there's the burst, there's freezing time.
And
the
heads,
grenades.
I was interested in how varying the effects of the heads are.
Yeah, one of them stops you from losing your stuff if you get hurt, which normally is a problem.
Yeah, normally you get hit and you drop your equipment and you're forced to pick it back up. Otherwise, the next hit kind of kills you, a la Sonic and the Rings.
Yeah. There's also Gunhead. Give you a guess what that does. You just fire an extra bullet whenever you shoot your weapon. And then the last one that I have is a teddy bear, I think. It's got weird curled ears. And when you get a triple jump, but then you also like rotate when you're jumping in a certain direction.
Yeah, normally you're shooting kind of Mega Man style. It's only straight ahead, forward, wherever you're facing.
Yeah.
But if you put on that teddy bear thing and do your double jump or triple jump, you're rotating in the direction that you're facing. So this lets you start firing your gun at whatever angle, and you get to use that momentum to propel you upward.
Yeah, like the laser gun, I don't think gives you too much momentum or recoil, but like the shotgun, I had the shark fin rotated and I was pointing straight down and I activated it and it like sent me flying into the ceiling.
Yeah.
It was really cool, and I hope I can find a way to use that in the game to help me get through it.
The combinations seem where a lot of the excitement comes from, or finding your combination is what it's going to be about. Because that's kind of a unique thing, and as you play, you're not going to keep getting the same things in the same order. So he found this because,
actually, I think those first few items, I think, do.
Well, never mind anything I just said.
I believe that there's a small order to the first few items. I'm not far enough to really say for sure on the bigger picture.
Okay.
But I think I've covered the major bases. The gameplay is fun. It's tight. The controls are good. The story is a little vague, but I think that's part of the charm is like figuring out everything that's happening.
Minimalist story.
Yeah. The sound, you covered those pretty well.
Yeah, it like I said, it sounded weird. That's great. It's great though.
Yeah.
It sounds beautiful. The music was great.
Oh, and there's a daily challenge that they update every day, which gives you a very specific set of equipment. The first time I tried, I had like a poop head, like a little swirl.
Wow. Okay.
I forget what weapon I had though. It was and then I had a ball for a backpack, which lets me just jump straight up in the air, like from wherever I am.
All right.
Yeah, it was cool, but
nice.
I was very new to the game. That was the first day I got it, and so I didn't get too far.
Mm-hmm.
But those are all like really fun. And the thing too is that I'm not a huge fan of games where the score is like the big thing. But this game, because of the way the glyphs work, the more glyphs you have, the more multiplier you get from killing enemies.
Right.
So I have like 4,500, I think is my high score, which I'm sure is not too high, but this is the first time I've been like, okay, but I can beat that score, and then to try again, like to motivate me.
Nice. They got you trying to get that carrot.
Yeah, especially because of the way that like you're rewarded. Comboing kills gets you more glyphs, which in turn gets you more points. So it's not just reflective like, oh, you killed this many enemies. It's you killed this many enemies in succession, and you got a big enough, multiplier.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the game. It was like $10, completely worth.
Yeah, it is $9.99 right now, and then it's
Switch.
not just Switch, right?
Yeah.
It's Switch exclusive?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I thought you said it was on the Switch. I'm like, yeah, it is. But no, I think it's also on PC. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely recommend buying this. For the cost, I think you're going to get your time out of it for sure. And I think that's that's about all we played this week, right?
I played Has-Been Heroes, not new, but also roguelike.
How are you enjoying it?
Pretty fun times. It had a little bit of a learning curve, but once I got past that, it took about like maybe two
handful of
times.
tries?
2 or 3 deaths for me to like, okay, now I get it. Now I see. It is also like my first foray into a roguelike.
And
so
that's a hard example because that fighting style is very
it
unique
is,
to that game.
Yeah, I was being a little bit overwhelmed with the fact that I'm being introduced to both the game's own system while being introduced to the way broader idea of, hey, these are roguelikes. It's not teaching you anything about roguelikes. It just is one.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there learning the trial by fire. But anyway, yeah, I get it. Death isn't, as much as you're working for it, is like, yeah, you're supposed to. And then it's cool, like, oh, okay. And every death is still experience
building
towards
unlockable items and spells and stuff.
Right. Like it doesn't, I didn't lose anything. If anything, I just added to the pile of whatever resources that on the next go.
Yeah, and the thing I like about that one is you don't know what spells and items do until you buy them.
Right.
But from then on, you know what it does.
Yeah, it's a cool mix right there.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, it is, like I said, a little bit of a learning curve. Just its own system. Even if you already know what the hell is up with the roguelike genre, if you already get the tropes and everything right there, outside of that, it's not the best. Like, I don't know. It was a little bit convoluted, I think,
I think it's hard to explain, like, in a concise manner. So playing through it after they give you the basic is the best way to learn.
The lane switching is just a really hard thing to get used to. And the limitations, I didn't really understand some of them.
If they're too close, you can't switch them or something?
You can't switch them if they're too close up to them. It seemed like the intent was, okay, choose the first person that you want to attack, and then only that person can swap out. Or once you swap out, that's it. You have to reverse that swap. I found ways to basically move everybody. Yeah. After every attack, you have the chance to rearrange everybody in whatever fashion you want and have either of your other 2 people attack, which it's active time battle. And so you're supposed to just have you're supposed to let their gauges fill up and then combo them.
Yeah.
There's just kind of ways to not bypass the time, but the whole turn thing that it seemed like it was trying to sell you on. And doing it doesn't feel smooth, even when you are. No. When you do it the intended way, it's great. But then if there is even a little slight hiccup, you start going off and trying to set up their formation instead of focusing on the action or anything like that.
Yeah, and
really it's killing the pace every 3-4 seconds when that happens. But it's still also, once you get the hang of it and really, really know how to handle, basically once you get lane management down.
Yeah.
Once you figure that out, how to keep the enemies at bay and which ones are really more of a threat than the others, it gets a lot easier. But it's just a little bit. I think that needed a little bit more words while I was going through my first couple of rounds in that game.
Definitely fun though. How much was that one?
I got it $18.99 used because
that's right.
It's also a cartridge at GameStop. I think it's $19.99. I think still on the eShop store. Yeah,
so for $30 you can get 2 great roguelikes. One very new for the Switch, one not as new but still very good.
Yeah. If you like roguelikes at all, I don't see why you wouldn't enjoy this one as a quick, it's not gonna be like I don't think it's as deep as Darkest Dungeon was the big one.
Oh
right?
Man, yeah, that one had a bunch of systems, I believe.
Yeah, it's not. We're not getting that deep here at all. But it's still pretty fun. You can pick it up and understand the rules within about, I don't know, an hour or 2.
Yeah, I want to add, for GoNNER, they're going to be adding leaderboards. I'm assuming you can filter that to your friends if a few of you are trying to beat each other in that.
That sounds like it's going to be pretty sweet.
Has-Been Heroes has something called the Hall of Heroes on their website, where if you beat the game and have all the items and spells and stuff unlocked, then you get to be listed on their website.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now I got something to go for.
Yeah, I've been trying. It's very difficult, though. Fun, but difficult.
Mm-hmm. All right, so coming soon, we're on the 4th of July, which, by the way, I can't believe we didn't start the episode off by saying Happy 4th of July, everybody.
I mean,
Hope
we could have added that in, but I guess not now.
I don't understand. What, you think we can just edit this sound like it's some kind of digital file that we can manipulate and go back into and then...
All right, anyway, Happy 4th of July, everybody.
I mean, it's like you don't even know what technology is. So, July 5th, tomorrow, LEGO Worlds Classic Space DLC coming out for the PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, that looks pretty cute. We saw the trailer for that.
Yeah, not bad. It's got, it's classic space as in the little classic old school 90s or
Space
80s
builder set.
Space people that LEGO had. Little helmet, no
like,
visor.
Benny
Sometimes
from the
they're-
Lego movie.
Yeah. What is it? He goes, what's the thing he says? I
He
know he
just
goes
wants to build
crazy
stuff
over
or something.
building. Yeah,
Yeah.
he wants to build a spaceship, but I thought he had a thing he said.
Probably. It's
But
been a while since I've
well,
seen it.
He's, Charlie Day.
Yeah,
Funny
he's great.
times. Day after, July 6th, we got Call of Duty, what is that?
Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare Absolution. Is that DLC?
Yeah, I think I want to say it's their first, but it's probably their second.
Okay. One of their firsts.
Yeah. It's a DLC pack, 4 maps, and the Zombies map, I believe, is the new standard for them.
Okay. That's going to be a PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
Kirby's Blowout Blast is coming out on the 3DS. That's a nice little tongue twister,
Kirby's
of.
Blowout Blast.
Okay.
Kirby's Blowout Blast.
You
Kirby's Blowout Blast.
can go
Read the
blow
next
it
one.
out your blast.
Revenant Saga for the Wii U. What's a Wii U?
Wait, is Revenant Saga a franchise? I don't
The
know.
Wii U is a Revenant.
It's,
Heyo.
I guess.
Frontier Saga?
Is that
I don't
what it
think...
is?
No, there's probably different games.
Eh,
I think
okay.
just because it says Saga on it.
Next week, July 11th, Final Fantasy 12,
The
Zodiac Age.
That looks cool. I might get it.
I saw the trailer, and it does look nice, but I never played the first one. I don't know.
Well, you mean you don't have to. It's a remake. That's the whole point.
No. I meant as in, like, I was never interested in
You
it.
never played the first Final Fantasy?
I didn't. I didn't play the first, the second. I
Really?
didn't play the fifth.
There's so many opportunities,
sixth.
too.
I didn't play.
Anyway, you played the 6th.
That's...
Fireworks.
Oh, I thought someone was banging something outside. Happy
Did you
4th of
really
July
forget?
again. Honestly, I did, yeah.
All right. Well, maybe you won't forget this. Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 is starting next Tuesday.
I'm sorry, what? I forgot what you said.
Episode 1. That's going to be titled Hero in Residence. And hopefully it comes out better than Guardians of the Galaxy has been. I know we've been ragging on that lately, but it's just been stuck in my mind.
Yeah, I'm wondering, considering what you had said earlier about the other Telltales, the Game of Thrones one.
Yeah.
I kind of want to give that one a look real quick and see
Well, if you
better
get
or
that,
worse.
Yeah, if you get the PlayStation Plus. From what I heard, that the problem with that one was more the story than it was the...
Oh, okay. So
animations
technically
and
it
stuff.
seems like it was okay.
Although, considering that they made a Minecraft one, maybe they were, like, using the same blocky models as character rigs for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, we've mixed up our facial rigging.
Oh, no, that's why Rocket Raccoon has a square for a head.
That's how bugs work.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's coming out. Check it out, or don't.
No, check it out. You're
Yes,
forced
please
to
do.
now.
All right, so we've been talking about doing this for probably a month now, at least. We want to talk about series fatigue because your iPhone is tired of taking orders.
Yeah, just please, can you be nicer to it? At least.
All right, no, not Siri. It's fatigue. Series, like a video game franchise.
Okay, no, I seriously researched Siri. What? And
Okay,
we're
so you
gonna
have
talk
nothing
about
for this episode.
No.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to tag along then. Basically, we're talking about how series will pump games out and not necessarily add a lot to them. I think you had a pretty passionate case about how these games don't need to be released every year.
Yes.
Although-
Some games really, really don't need to be updated every single year, especially with the advent of downloadable content. Continue, I'm sorry.
No, you're right. People, when you talk about this, people think like Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed lately. Although now with the year off, hopefully that's breaking the trend. But you know, like even series like Pokemon, where they're not adding a ton, you know, they're just adding more Pokemon. They're changing some features. I know Gold and Silver added breeding, and then after that they added like hidden stats. But up until Sun and Moon, they've mostly been the same. You pick a fire, water, or grass starter. You go and collect 8 badges, fight the Elite Four.
Right.
And then you train your dream team and maybe play online, which I never did. So, I mean, I wanted to, but it just, like, there was so much stuff that, like, the game just now, you have to really research it, which, I mean, that supports a strong community, but largely these series have been pretty much the same from day one, except now Sun and Moon, you said, has 4 islands instead of 8 gyms.
Right.
And it's not the same format, right?
No, it's not this time. It changes it up a little bit, but not exactly anywhere near enough to address this issue in even the slightest way.
Oh.
For the most part, you're still doing the same thing where essentially you go out, you're collecting your Pokemon, you go and you get your team. Oh, this next challenge, it's not a gym challenge this time, although you will still be fighting particularly strong, Pokemon battles, of course. You're not going to coast by or anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you haven't played Sun and Moon, do be prepared for an actual challenge this time. You will not coast by this time. Make sure you pay attention to like types and stuff. They actually apply it this time. While there's these changes there, it's not like the entire game got completely revolutionized. You're still a Pokemon trainer who's still out trying to collect Pokemon, evolve them, and trade them in order to fill out ultimately a Pokedex. And it's got all the different diversions that every other Pokemon game has had that you can delve deep, deep, deep into, and most of them will affect the stats of your Pokemon in some way. But every Pokemon game has had that. And yeah, we want more Pokemon and we want these games to keep coming out. But these coming out biannually, and not even biannually when you consider that they always have that third version.
Extra chunk.
Blue, red had yellow. What was it? Ruby, emerald had sapphire?
Gold and silver had sapphire.
Considering that they come out with those middle versions, I don't know. Maybe just maybe go for a 3 or 4 year thing before deciding to update the rules of this thing again, because I feel like one of the big things that keeps this going is online competition. And if they're going to be changing the rules each and every time, every 2 years, that doesn't give you a whole lot of time to get used to what the rules that were already set.
To nurture
every generation updates the way it does things, changes the order of some attacks, and the way they go. I don't know. That seems like a lot of updating for even pro sports don't get changed as much.
Well, see, then this thing too. On the flip side, if you're going to say that they don't change it enough, then what is the point of all these releases? Because, like you said, they released yellow after red and blue. And then, so you can argue, okay, they had a specific story they wanted to tell with that one, the Pikachu edition. They released gold, silver, sapphire? No, not sapphire. Platinum with gold. No, not even that. What was it? Emerald. Crystal.
Okay.
Sorry, gold, silver, and crystal.
That one mineral.
They added the battle tower or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so by that point, you're like, okay, so they've kind of figured out they want to do this and add them to the games from now on. But no, they kept doing it. They did Ruby, Sapphire, and then Emerald. And again, they added that stuff. Why? I understand they want to make more money, but they're releasing the same game with stuff that they've taken out of the base. Yeah. So, and then they did Black and White, and they did Black and White 2.
Which is, that's also weird that every other major one is a whole new change in whatever the element or whatever theme. Yeah. And then this one, they're just like, no, we're just going to continue the stories of those other two. We're going to
even more money.
Yeah, off of the same base thing.
So, I mean, you want to point at Call of Duty as a series that's like wearing out its welcome, but like Nintendo, like Pokemon itself, and I understand why. I mean, there's always new, younger kids that are going to be into this. This is going to be their first Pokemon game. And then also you argue, like, if it changes too much, then is it really Pokemon? Like, why? How much do you want to change in each game before it stops being what it was?
Right.
But I just feel, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the solution is to this when I think about how there's new people getting into the series.
We have new people getting into it all the time, and it doesn't seem to be dying in popularity ever. Every once in a while, something like Pokemon Go happens, and it just revitalizes the hell out of this thing, you know? Whether it be the actual, you know, Pokemon Go itself or the franchise, it gets a boost again. And what I feel is just, we might be getting new fans all the time, but we're not getting new fans in a set graduation of 2 years.
I see what you mean.
I think one, maybe at most 2 major Pokemon releases per handheld of that time, per console at the time, if that's how it ends up going. I think that's more than enough.
Well, because I mean, they did. Pokemon 1 was on the Game Boy.
Right.
Second generation was on the Game Boy Color, which you could argue is just the same thing, but with color. I think you could even play those on the regular Game Boy. 3 was on the Advance. 4th gen was on the DS.
Okay.
Next one was on the... I want to say also the DS?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
DSi,
I
think had implementation. And now they're getting into the 3DS.
I guess maybe right there, they were also... They started adopting...
They wanted to get the formats updated, I think.
I was going to say their hardware. They're starting adopting the annual release with that, which was... definitely, as long as we're talking about stuff that does annual releases, something nobody wants. Like, I was watching this YouTube video of this girl who had about like 6 or 7 different versions of different DSs, and she's just covering why the hell didn't they all use the same charger?
Yeah.
She's not even that mad about the different versions of them. It's just what reason did they have for not ever sharing the same charger from the beginning?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or even the transitions between the one, because now I think ever since the 2DS or the
new 3DS,
the large, I think is the big 3DS. I think that's once it finally, like, this is the last kind of charger we're going to use for our portables, and I think they stuck. But there was like 1 or 2 still beforehand that why were these here?
Yeah. Well, yeah. When you think about the influx of fans. It's easier to kind of point why Pokemon happens so often, and that still doesn't explain the whole, like, oh, here's another version of that game a year or 2 later.
Yeah.
But when you look at games like Call of Duty, which, like you said, these are actual annual releases. It's like every November it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Modern Warfare started the trend of being more futuristic, and since then it's been more and more like an arms race, basically, appropriately enough, for a futuristic shooter. And I think Titanfall also kind of helped with that because they had the mechs and the future weapons and the running.
It basically was their answer to...
and then everyone kind of adopted it. And now they're going back to basics. Battlefield 1 went to World War 1. Call of Duty's going to World War 2, where they started. And I'm just wondering what they're going to do next year, because their most readily available options are to go back again to World War II or to go futuristic again. And it seemed like people were getting tired of that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they're getting tired of it for a reason. These games are coming out every year.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can change or should change before it's like, what's the point? But then also, it's this weird thing where if you change too much, it's not the same game. If you don't change enough, then why bother? You know? I think you had a pretty good argument. But although I did even mention that from Call of Duty 1 to Modern Warfare 1, which was the 4th one in the series, there were gradual changes that you wouldn't get out of just if you waited long enough, you would eventually get this game.
Right.
Like, those are things that you had to build up to. And then even more so with the more recent ones with the jetpack jumping and stuff. I don't think you could even slide in the older ones.
No.
So that, I think, was a big first step for the parkour, like, run and gun, like literally running everywhere and gunning.
Yeah.
So I understand the need for building blocks. It just, if you did it every 2 years, I think that would make people a lot happier. Although I don't think they would make as much money, which I know is the primary concern there.
It's hard to say that, because it's not like when they come out and they're mediocre titles, do the lowered sales that these mediocre titles make up for when, like, Assassin's Creed, everybody can't wait for that.
That's
one.
A good point, yeah.
You know? So who's to say really if it guarantees that it is or isn't going to make money?
Yeah. And but see, the thing is too that, like, they try to annualize Guitar Hero and that killed the series.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Especially when you have what Rock Band did, and, like, here's 500 songs. Here's a few songs every week for years and years.
Yeah.
And then they only released 3 because they were adding specifically like, here's a keyboard, here's real instruments that you can learn to play on.
Oh, yeah.
And that didn't work out quite as well, but that was a very deliberate, like, here's a new game, here's what's being added.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think, like, even with like Guitar Hero 4, 5, and I think 6, and then Rock Band 3, that kind of, people were tired of it. As cool as it is, you just,
there's only really room for one of those franchises, and
not every year.
And yeah, maybe at most come out with 2 titles, not major, one major and then one kind of big DLC song pack.
And the thing is too that even Rock Band 4, they had an expansion. They had the Rivals thing.
Yeah, they did.
Which far and away is the best way to go about it versus releasing a new game, Rock Band Rivals.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that did though. I haven't heard too much about Rock Band the last few days. Mad Catz went under.
I keep checking the prices when I walk into the Walmart to do my groceries on Guitar Hero's peripherals, on Rock Band's peripherals, and they all just like, the prices they want to get those the hell out of their shelves. They want them out.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe Call of Duty doesn't have the problem of like you have to buy a fake plastic gun to play the game like Guitar Hero did. But I feel like if they keep on beating this into the ground, then eventually that horse is just gonna die. And then they're gonna have to reinvent it by caveman warfare or something. Final Fantasy, it's not so much that they're releasing the main titles every year because God knows that that's not what they're doing. 15 was in development for like 10 years.
Yeah.
But they're throwing their name on literally everything. It started actually even with like Secret of Mana, I think was like Final Fantasy Adventure.
Oh, was it?
Something weird like that where it wasn't even the same franchise. They're like, it's fantasy and Final Fantasy does well. Let's just slap a name on it and go.
Yeah, they've got, now that these guys are also expanding into mobile, and they've got like 6 or 7 different freaking games. It's more like, I think actually just 3.
Well, they have like all the battle, active defender something or other. Like it's just,
wasn't it All of the Brave or something like
all
that?
the Bravest.
All the Bravest.
Okay, yeah, and then they have Exvius, and it just.
Yeah, there are quite a few Final Fantasy titles out there already in the world, let alone the ones that they now have on the iPhone, and it's getting a little bit. That name, what does it mean anymore?
Yeah.
Why are you guys, why do they even use it? I can understand in their main titles, yeah, those are your pride and joy flagship games, but I don't get the point of throwing the tag Final Fantasy on every other RPG-ish thing that they release.
I mean, at least Theater Rhythm was upfront about, like, this is just a rhythm Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, it didn't put Final Fantasy in the front of it. It called itself Theater Rhythm first, doesn't it? Or is it Final Fantasy?
I thought it was Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm.
Never
but
mind.
Again, like it's like that's a very specific. Here's the genre. This is what the game is.
Yeah.
Not like Final Fantasy Exvius, which is a mobile game about God knows what. And
yeah. What is Exvius?
It's just a game. I don't understand.
Half the time that I get on Facebook when I'm scrolling through that thing, I see ads for it with new DLC characters getting thrown in there from newer
Previous
games.
Final Fantasy games.
So is this game just another cash grab tie-in that throws in like half their other effing games? Like just throws in weird characters that shouldn't be meeting other characters. They're PSP Vita games. What are they?
Dissidia.
Dissidia. It's just basically all of them fighting each other, right?
Yeah, they actually announced one.
Then you got All the Bravest, which is just all of them fighting together. And you pay for like each one of those single characters.
You can play as like generic characters, but then you can buy like here's Sid from Final Fantasy 7, and 8, and 9, and 10.
Then there's like we're talking about Exvius, which I played a little bit of it, and it's like, all right, this looks really cool. I love this pixel animation. This is great. But then it's just starting to seem like, oh no, like it's just that was another excuse for us to try and get more money. more in-app purchases from you.
Well, that's what the mobile market's become.
Basically, yes, yeah. I can understand that, but it's still
upsetting.
This like what does that name mean anymore? Final Fantasy, like I don't know who that's fooling anymore.
Yeah.
This title, if you throw Final Fantasy in it, all I know is that it means it's an RPG and it came from Square Enix, which just means stop putting Final Fantasy there and just call it Square Enix Xavier's
All-Stars.
Square Enix. What? Yeah, I guess I wasn't even gonna make a joke about it. I was gonna say seriously, stop using Final Fantasy. Just call the game whatever the hell it is and put Square Enix in front of it because that's what the thing is.
At least with like Final Fantasy Tactics, you know exactly what it is. They're being very upfront. Xvius doesn't tell us anything about the game.
No, yeah, you're
All the
right.
Bravest says nothing except for the fact that it's ATB, active time battle.
Even Final Fantasy Tactics, that title, I don't know what that's supposed to really tell me either. Does this mean I'm going to get familiar characters and now all those heroes are just going to be in a Tactics?
Characters.
In
Cloud and Aerith were in it.
Okay, well that's and
but
that
they
was
were
the
like hidden
GBA one,
characters
right?
too.
That was Game Boy Advance.
No, that was the original PlayStation one.
Okay.
But no, that you have a good point. You don't really know what you're getting just from the name alone. I mean, you know, it's a tactical game. You know, there's Final Fantasy theme, but that's the problem is that every game has been its own thing. Like people that played Final Fantasy 1, you made your own party, you saved the world. And when Final Fantasy 2 came out, I'm sure some of them were wondering like, do I have to save the world from the same guy? It's like, no, it's a completely different story.
Why is the world in trouble again?
Yeah. No, it's a different story. And I think by the third time, people were like, okay, they're wising up to the fact that these are all just separate stories.
Right.
Which
the
again
characters
doesn't
have nothing to do with each other. Even the enemies don't, because I mean the main characters, they were never set. They were four
the
random.
first one, yes.
Yeah, there were 4 random people that
you could have made a party of 4 white mages if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But and then you know, like even the numbered titles don't tell you what they're supposed to be, except for the fact that they are supposed to be good.
Right.
So far, I'm not.
This is where our budget went.
Yeah.
It has a singular number at the end. Oh wait, sorry. Now sequential
10-2.
number at the end. Sorry, this is where the majority of our budget went.
Yeah. It just I feel like they need to kind of trim the fat on this series on the name.
Yeah.
Because they're just putting it on a lot of stuff. Like Kingdom Hearts, that had every right to be Final Fantasy Disney, and it wasn't.
if they had just called it FFD.
Yeah.
If
like that.
That's all it was called. If it was just FF Cross Disney.
Disney. Like
Disney. I like that one.
It's like Final Fantasy Fantasy Disney game. Like that and they didn't. And I feel like that took like a lot of restraint.
Yeah.
Like to like don't type it. No.
But
Kingdom Hearts.
But they've got zippers. They need to have Final Fantasy.
Yeah. But it wasn't, and I feel like that's probably the leading example. Although now that's getting its own series fatigue.
Yeah.
With 13 titles to tell trilogy. That's a.
I never saw it that way.
We talked about that in the first episode, I believe.
Never saw it.
If you want to go back and listen to that. But I don't know what the easy solution is here because, like I said, like there's new fans every year, especially for Final Fantasy, where that game 15 had been in development for a long time. Thankfully, at least for me, it lived up to expectations. But you get a game that's been in development, like who was it? The Last Guardian. Let a lot of people down from Eco and Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
I think they had the opposite problem of series fatigue, where they spent so much on one game that it's like
just
they
a
put all their eggs
title,
in one basket.
And then it came out to be just really okay.
Yeah, which I mean, again, is not like what we want. We want these studios to make great games.
Mm-hmm.
And Call of Duty is not a bad game. None of them are, I don't think, bad games. They're not broken. They do exactly what they're supposed to, but it's the same decent game.
Yeah. With a slight
twist.
A slight update either to mechanics or visuals.
Yes, and World War II here looks like it's finally changing that, whereas it's not a small update. You no longer can sprint forever. You can't run on the walls or jetpack across and shoot somebody.
No radars, no.
Yeah. Hopefully,
no
I don't know what the kill if there's going to be kill streaks or what they're going to be. They might still have some like, oh, we sent out a Morse code and here's the enemy location or something.
I mean, it's still a game also.
Yeah. Even like Far Cry, not Far Cry. Ubisoft in general is kind of towing the line now. Far Cry has been getting more frequent, and I'd heard the second game and the third game and the first game were all pretty different as far as mechanics and gameplay.
Yeah, from each other, first to second, second to third. Pretty big changes all the way through.
They found 3 to be a big success, and it seems like they're just kind of keeping that and
just remaking 3.
Yeah. They remade 4 pretty substantially. The map is almost largely the same.
From 4 to 3?
No, I'm sorry. 4 to Primal.
Yeah.
So it just... Ubisoft... And then... playing Far Cry 3 for the first time, I already knew like, oh, I got to climb the tower to check the map, because of Assassin's Creed.
Like it's just built in. It's great.
It's
This
another
thing that
Ubisoft.
was once a revolutionary feature to this game is now just a trope in your
Open
your
world games.
titles.
Yeah. I don't know. Origin seems like it's going to be cool, but again, they're taking the drone and making it into an eagle from Wildlands. There's no easy solution for this, I don't think.
What I just feel that no title should have to adhere to any kind of model of business. This isn't while video games are a product that come out and they have, there's a huge business aspect to the game industry. We figured it out with movies, we figured it out with literature, and we figured it out with music. So what the F is happening here with the game industry where we can't just, this is not a conveyor belt of data that you can just spit out to everybody. Good games do take time, but also good games sometimes take absolutely no time. What it takes to find out whether a game is good or not, I need to rephrase the whole thing. We're spending time in attempting to make a good game, but I don't think anybody's really taking any time to find out what is a good game.
Well, and that's hard to say too because everyone has different opinions.
Right. Which may be also part of the problem. Why are we defining what a good game is? We don't need we don't know what good is.
Yeah.
We don't have one definition of what good is.
We just know what bad is, and that's a big umbrella.
and then even then, to them, bad just means they didn't make money off it.
Unity was bad.
Unity was bad. But I mean, I'm trying to think of a really good. There's been plenty of really great games that never got their sequels or their continuations. Their series were ended because they didn't get enough sales, but were critically acclaimed and they were crazy good. Like Good versus what's it called? Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah,
one of the reasons it's taking so long is because it didn't get crazy good sales back when it came out, but everyone who played it can't shut the hell up about it. It's an amazing effing game.
How do you know someone replayed Beyond Good and Evil 1?
They'll tell you.
Yeah.
Also, I'm vegan.
Yeah. That's another podcast topic we'll talk about in our Vegan Go podcast.
A podcast where we talk about vegans and whatever else we want to talk about.
Yes. But no, yeah,
My point was, we're putting what is an art, a subjective art, and putting it up to the same timing standards that we do any other product, any other physical product. And that isn't a thing that works ever. And we are living through it. This is why we get such inconsistent ratings with inconsistent pricings. It's why we get indie games that might come out and take a single person 6 months to make, and it just blows everything out of the water, where you have a 20-30 man team of the highest pedigree and they come out with something that can't even break 500,000 in sales, and it's supposed to be that company's AAA.
Yeah.
This is too subjective industry to put deadlines on and to have expectations of time, because of how subjective every little facet within making these games is. Yeah. It's too many variables, and it's not like it needs a different approach entirely. The way we're doing it, more or less time isn't the thing. The way the industry is handled needs to change entirely. I don't know how to get that to happen. I just know that deadlines do not help these industries, and that's not what we're trying to talk about, but I feel it's like a big thing.
And I think part of the problem is that I've heard like stories about how the Donkey Kong Country team was like 20-30 people, and that they pumped out what is regarded as an amazing platformer. And now you have
which Donkey Kongs are we talking about?
Country 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Which, I mean, 3 had its problems, but it was still a solid game.
Right.
Versus a AAA team now, what has hundreds of people, and because there's more stuff that needs to be done. It's not just a 2D platformer. it's a 3D world, and now people want physics and all this other stuff. Sometimes that just takes longer to make. It takes more people to make, and it's just, I think they think it's like the more time you throw at it, or the more man hours you throw at it, the better it's going to be.
The better the game.
Which is where you get crunch time and like people rushing to make a game and then release a broken one like Unity.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing too is I feel like people have different expectations. Like you were comparing how they're using the same business model for like movies or other entertainment forms for video games, and it doesn't work. Because if you want a character to turn around and have a surprised look on their face in a movie, you just tell them, do that.
And it's a 2-minute process. If that.
And it might be, maybe they're not a good actor and so you won't get what you want. But it's different in a game where you're like, I want this character to turn around and have a surprised look on their face. And that is motion capture and like animating and all this other.
That could be several people's 8-hour day that day. Yeah. Because you need a character in the game to turn around and look at the camera or grin or something.
Yeah. And I feel like people, because they're businesses. EA is a business, Activision's a business, and their goal is to make money. And I feel like they're just a little short-sighted about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, it might be that you can't, like I said, you can't just be a business about this stuff. Yeah. I know that writers of books get, rushed by publishers sometimes, but they end up getting a lot of help to make sure these things happen. They send 4 people to go inspire, quote unquote, them and all that stuff. I don't think that you can just do that. That kind of solution just doesn't happen here, but you can't treat it like just a product on a conveyor belt. It's not about keeping it in an oven for a certain amount of time. And yeah, I don't even know what else you could say about this right here.
And Call of Duty has been selling very well, with the exception of maybe Infinite Warfare. I heard that one flopped. But it sucks because it kind of like undermines what we're trying to say here, that these annual releases are killing games when Call of Duty is making Activision like millions of dollars a year. When
I don't think when we say that they're killing games, we're not necessarily meaning that it's making it harder on other publishers and other developers, because now they have to come out with their own version of a Call of Duty, but that Call of Duty already exists. So what do? They're supposed innovate. They're supposed to be innovating, right? But then the way, like, innovation, as we're talking about, doesn't get as well rewarded as something like Call of Duty does, where they're going to pour the money and man hours because they think that's all it takes into there. So while the money goes into there, the effort is going into innovating and all that. But that isn't necessarily lucrative.
Another big offender that we forgot to mention is sports games.
Yeah.
I know that they're always trying to make them more accessible and fun to play, but largely it's a roster update.
Yep.
Although I think in one specific instance, you could carry a character over from a baseball game to another, like a character that you picked or something. Okay. Something like that. And I read an article where a baseball player passed away.
Oh, all right.
So I think it updated the character in the sequel with a generic, like, made-up person.
Oh, because he wasn't in there anymore.
Yeah, and it needed somebody to fill the spot, but it has to carry over your progress from the previous season.
Right.
So, like, it was just a weird situation.
That
just
must...
a segue, but it was just
kind of a crazy,
interesting
side story there. Yeah.
But, I'm not a big fan of annualization. I would rather have expansions I don't want Call of Duty DLC. That's me personally. I don't want more maps. But what do you guys think? What do you think is the answer to this?
How do we solve series fatigue?
Yeah.
I said, I feel just some way it has to be where no developers can't just sit on their ass until they have a good idea and that's it. They do have to constantly be at work. But then it's also, you can't, like I said, just put a timer on any of these things. These projects biological things happen more on a clock than the creation of a game. Like literally, you can in about 9 months that woman will have a baby. You know?
Yeah.
But that's not how it works with the game. You can't just be like, all right, you guys did this cool idea in about 2 weeks. Add some online to it and this, that, and I'll give you another 2 weeks to do it. So 4 weeks? Yeah, that's fine. No, that's not how that works either. We need the idea. We need the concept. We don't know what we're going to do. How many people do we need on our team? So many different factors. And sure, they get some of that obviously done beforehand. Games have been made, so obviously there's been some solutions to these.
Yeah, and I forgot another big point I wanted to make is that once these series establish themselves, sometimes they just start to coast by on their good name.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy, I believe, is probably the biggest offender.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're slapping that quote-unquote good name all over everything that looks anime-ish.
Just throw it right on it.
Yeah, and clearly that's not working. I think they're starting to tarnish that reputation with all the crappy mobile games that they're releasing.
Yeah, like I said, Final Fantasy doesn't mean shit to me anymore. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get Cloud. It doesn't mean that I'm going to necessarily get, what's it called?
Materia?
Materia. The pink-haired lady. The girl Cloud. Lightning. It just means that. All it means, and I'm sorry, because that's contradictive too. It means that it's Square Enix and that eventually Cloud and Lightning will make their way into that game. That's what the Final Fantasy title means to me now.
Yeah.
Is that it's Square Enix and we're just waiting for DLC to throw in, does all this new original stuff seem too foreign? Don't worry, give it 2 weeks and we'll throw in some familiar characters so that then you can care about it again.
When Final Fantasy XIV came out, it was a huge, disgusting mess. I think they fired the whole team that had made it. This is the online MMORPG.
Is this also the one that caused like suicides on the team?
I hope not.
One of these, there were suicides associated with one of these Final Fantasies. But go ahead.
This would probably be it. I think they got rid of the whole team. They brought in basically everybody from the ground up. They rebuilt the game. If you bought the game, you could play it for free, the original one.
Okay.
Because it was a horrible, ugly mess.
Right.
And they even factored that in, I believe, to the new story because they eventually re-released the game as A Realm Reborn.
Oh, God! Before the great a-changing.
No, yeah, like, there's a cutscene at the beginning of A Realm Reborn where
a meteor just crashes into the world they made.
It doesn't crash. Basically, the story that was leading up in the original first game came to a climax, and the evil empire attacking summoned a dragon out of the moon. And I believe if you were originally part of the game, you could partake in that battle.
Oh, wow.
They ended up, 12 people or so sacrificed themselves to imprison the dragon and reset. I don't know if they reset the world or if they just made people forget. Because in the new one, you're picking up the pieces of this, what happened.
You're assembling the broken code of the game they're trying to delete. This is pretty amazing, Square.
No, they are very much like saying this is the next era of this world because of what happened previously.
Right.
My point being, they thought they could deliver this broken, ugly mess because it was a Final Fantasy game.
Right. That was
a
perfect example of them trying to just get away resting on their laurels.
Yeah. Call of Duty, I think, started to do that, and they're like, we can't just keep featuring more.
Yeah, there was even before that. I feel that there was a decline, a small decline at some point, and even they realized, okay, just because we're Call of Duty doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to buy it anymore. We need to do something new. I feel that that's where future combat came in. Black Ops is getting too much the same stuff. I don't know how we're bringing old technology or new technology into these older eras.
Flash forward.
Let's just no more excuses. And now whatever we make up gameplay wise, it makes sense because it's a fictional future.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed was doing the same thing with Unity. They made excuses not to include women characters playable.
That was dumb.
And then the game was trash anyway.
The game that generated such a terrible misunderstood quote unquote scandal, and it wasn't even worth it.
Yeah. So I just at least Call of Duty is going back to World War II. Battlefield's moved to World War I. Because we don't want the same game over and over again every year, especially for those ones. Like to think that they could just keep moving further into the future, like it was gonna peak at some point, and it did. But at least now with Origins, you're seeing some innovation. They're going back to like they beat World War I and II. They went back to ancient Egypt.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I just hope that these games are all good, because I as much as I hate to see like the 5th futuristic Call of Duty game, I know that these games all provide jobs for people, and that they don't make these games just because they're bored and they need something to do. This is their work. This is something that they enjoy, you know? And as much as we disparage them for like releasing a game every year, you know, that's not the same studio releasing the game every year. That's 3 different studios.
3 different ones,
so,
to be fair.
These people are hard at work, and sometimes, and I can't even imagine how it feels to like release something that you've been staying up for the last 6 months every night to work on, and then it doesn't sell very well.
Yeah.
And you know, you're right, these aren't just pumped out on an assembly line. These are all people hard at work. I'm glad to see that, like with a game like Origins, it's being as well received as it is. And especially a game like Far Cry 5, although it's not very innovative, I don't think. Like, to me, it doesn't seem like
it's a little upsetting. It seemed
this might be the beginning of them coasting by on their name.
Yeah. The first couple of trailers seemed like drastically different as compared to what we've been updated with. It just seems like it's just Far Cry with a...
It's not a little
American
outpost
skin.
now. It's a small town.
Yep.
A small like village borough thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is not the first step of their like, you know, decline. But I'm glad to see that they brought it to America, and like this like extremist religious kind of angle is as well received as it is, especially considering the political climate these days.
Yeah. Well, it kind of feels like that's one of the reasons why they decided on it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not exploiting, but taking advantage of the attention that something like that would be getting.
This game has been in development for a while, though. I mean, maybe they picked it up at the beginning of like when it was starting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Although I do believe that was it the Alaskan or Oregon National Park like standoff with the militia?
Yeah.
That I think was a big influence. It just kind of led into the right direction, I think, for what we're going through now. And then Pokemon. Yeah, they're releasing another sequel to Sun and Moon, but they are still working on a game for the Switch. Yeah. And I want this to be like something innovative.
Hopefully this is going to bring some kind of big change, and it's I'm being the first time that it's going to be on console, I actually might be okay with it kind of following in everything else it's done.
Yeah.
But
just here on
out though, like now it's the only excuse you have is jumping from only portable to a portable / home console now. And that's not even that big a deal to change feature wise. Yeah. We can sleep. We can basically save state because you save whatever the hell you want in the game.
Just, put it to sleep. Like
rest it, whatever. I don't understand any real big change. Actually, you know what? Okay, I'm going back. You can go ahead and put new features. Like they shouldn't be afraid to actually play with this.
This should largely be familiar ground. Yeah. As far as like where you're taking the console.
It's just a bigger resolution as far as I'm concerned now.
Yeah. And the bottom screen didn't do much of anything anyway. It was like if you don't want to push buttons or something. Right. But now you have a bigger screen. You have more space for that.
We still have a plus and minus button to act as menus.
Yeah. I want to see innovation and hopefully Pokemon, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, maybe. Hopefully these franchises will give it to us. You know what? Another one I'm not crazy about? Dark Souls.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how much they're adding between the games. I tried a little bit of each of them and I've not been super...
It's essentially the same game.
I know that the story is a big part of it, but you really have to dig for that. But anyway, that's, I think, all we have to say about the subject.
There's definitely more games out there.
Yeah, those are just...
We only had so many on our target list.
And since he was studying the wrong kind of series fatigue...
It's just, I didn't know that you can actually put her on low battery mode.
Maybe I should have typed it to you instead of said series fatigue. Because you asked me about Cortana, and I wasn't sure why. What about Cortana's fatigue? But anyway, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. This is especially a topic that, like, I know some people love Call of Duty still. Some people are jumped off the series long before I did. But, I mean, that's not the only series we're talking about here, obviously. But if you guys have any opinions or questions, or topics that you want to hear us discuss, please email us at gamegopodcast@gmail.com or comment on gamegopodcast.com. We're on Twitter at GameGo11, and we have a Facebook page too, GameGo Podcast, I believe.
Yeah, we're getting a lot more active on our Twitter lately.
Yes.
So hit us up on there. If you have Facebook, you don't like Twitter, hit us up on there too. We got to start jumping on our Instagram and Snapchat, but in Twitter, that's where you want to get us at now.
Yeah, a lot of short ideas, good ideas.
Fun times.
But yeah, that's all we have this week. You've been listening to GameGo, a podcast where we talk about video games and whatever else we want. This has been Sonorith, and with me always, H8BitHero.
Thank you guys very much for listening.
We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.